Without a doubt, it's the biggest pressure moment a footballer will ever face.
And it should be the easiest job in the world.
One kick and only the keeper to beat.
So just why is taking a penalty so stressful?
Get ready for the science of penalty taking. The penalty shootout is a really interesting, multi-dimensional environment because it's the interaction between the body and the brain, and particularly the eyes, what the eyes are actually seeing. Because what the eyes see, the brain then computes and then translates that to a physical response. And it's really a fight or flight mechanism because it's fear that fundamentally drives it. What we see is things like an increase in release of adrenaline, this hormone which is actually getting us ready, an increase in heart rate, which can rise really quite dramatically from resting levels around, in athletes, around 60 to over 100 without doing any activity at all. Breathing rate starts to rise. Blood pressure, the arteries in the body start to squeeze down and blood pressure starts to rise. And all of these things are positive in response to stress if they are well controlled. But the critical factor is that invariably what can happen is that actually these can then spill over. And what you see is you see people physically shaking.
And that's going to put you in an unusual state of mind. And what that can do is it can affect what you're thinking, what you're feeling, and particularly what you're focusing on.
And it's at that point where actually the physiologic response to this stress has become far too much. And there is a very strong likelihood of failure when executing such a fine motor control skill like penalty taking.
Taking penalties is all about pressure and coping with pressure. It is a mental thing, it's nothing to do with a technique. It is if you can delay it and the player starts to think too much, gets a bit anxious. So it's all going on in your mind.
That surge of emotions is going to come with some physical responses and with a tendency when you're anxious to really start fixing on the goalkeeper. And that can put you off from your pre-programmed strategy to kick the ball where you intended to.
Once the referee is blown for the penalty, a little bit of nerves kick in, the butterflies in the stomach start turning over a little bit.
And if the player starts to doubt themselves, then those doubts become magnified under pressure. And what happens is, invariably, a player, I'll take an example, a player will put the ball down on the spot and they might have a thought about where they want to put the pen. But by the time they've turned around and walked back and then faced the goal and start beginning their run up to the pen, they might have changed their mind, or they might have lost their concentration, i.e. their mind has started to drift on previous failures from other players about the consequences of missing. And as a result, they've taken the mind off the number one single most important thing, which is the target.
I mean, if you look at sort of penalty shootouts in World Cups, for instance, success rate would be around about 80%. It drops to sort of 77% during a shootout for the first few penalties. Curiously, if you're taking a penalty to keep your team in the tournament, something that England players have plenty of experience of, it drops to 44%. So you know that as you walk up to the ball, the world's media and TV cameras watching, historically you've got less than 50% chance of scoring that penalty.
When you approach a penalty shootout, you've got all the uncertainty about what's going to happen.
I want to get hold of the ball as soon as I can and get it placed on the spot.
So much at stake, there's worry going to be running through your mind. It's about managing that worry to deliver your one shot.
I decided where I was going to go, right at the goalkeeper.
I try not to make eye contact with the goalkeeper.
As you put the ball down, you calmly walk back.
Take about 5 steps back, almost to the edge of the 18-yard box.
I remember I wanted to take it really quickly. I got hold of the ball quick.
You are 100% confident that you are going to strike that ball. It's going to go hard exactly where you intended it.
There was 100,000 in the stadium, but I'd blanked totally out where it was, what it meant. I really did feel as if it was just me, him and a goal.